And someone who knows a lot about this particular issue and this surgery, because he's been there himself, is our colleague Arron Oberholser. Arron, good to see you. Can you explain to us exactly what the issue is here with Jordan Spieth on his wrist?
Well, it's simply, to put it in layman's terms, it's a torn tendon sheath, and there's a tendon sheath that wraps around the ulna bone here on your left hand up top here. And what he's got done is basically a tearing right here, where there's a tendon called the extensor carpi ulnaris tendon that runs through that groove in the bone. And when you swing the golf club with a torn sheath like that, it pops in and out, and it can be very uncomfortable. Sometimes painful, sometimes not painful, but more times not. It's just extremely uncomfortable, and sometimes you don't know when it's going to happen. And I know that for Jordan, that's been a serious issue this year. That it's the infrequency of what's going to happen and when it's going to happen when he swings the golf club, especially when he makes contact with the ground.
Ayo, and hearing from Spieth, he's mentioned a few times here since we've gotten this news that he's asked around other golfers, and this is very common. Doesn't appear very common to me. Is this a common injury that you've heard of?
When I had the surgery done in 2010, to my knowledge, I was the only PGA Tour player that my doctor said to me that had ever come to see him, at least, and had this done. I hadn't heard of anybody having this surgery when I went and had my surgery. Baseball players I'd heard have it. It is a stick sport kind of injury, but baseball players were the only thing that I remember him telling me about that they would have the same problems. So I can imagine maybe some hockey players would have that same issue. Any stick sport, you're probably going to get the same issues with your hands, and golf is no different.
Arron, you mentioned an issue of discomfort, not necessarily always pain, but certainly discomfort. And you specifically mentioned when contacting the ground. Jordan Spieth's driver stats this year are terrific. Iron stats, something very different. Is that really where the issue comes into play? And is it discomfort, or is it the fear of potential discomfort?
The second point is spot on, Eamon. When you don't know what's going to happen, when you're going to make contact with the ground, you don't know if that tendon is going to pop out or it's going to stay in that way. It's always constantly in the back of your mind. I know it was for me. Thick, rough, firm turf, Open Championship type turf. When we do get the firm bounce at certain places, Colonial comes to mind. That place, when it doesn't rain, can get brick hard. Those types of layouts in golf courses, when they get firm, they can be very, very difficult on the wrist, and that gets you thinking about certain things in the back of your mind that you don't want to think about. Off a tee, I experienced the same thing Jordan did. No issues off the tee, no problems at all, and I was able to hit my tee ball without any problem either. It always dealt with making contact with the ground and or heavy rough.
So, Ayo, as we assess this, I mean, it goes back, this injury, 16 months. You've kind of laid out some of the things he's battling. So knowing these unsavory finishes for quite a while now with Jordan Spieth, how much do you attribute the injury to that?
Nearly all of it, if not all of it. It's very difficult, Jordan, to play when you've got this in the back of your mind. You think you can get through it. You think you can do certain things. And as great a player as Jordan is, he did the best he possibly could, I think, with this injury. He was given some good news from a doctor, from what I understand, that told him that at some point he saw a doctor. He'd relayed to me that the doctor told him, hey, look, you can't do any more damage, which is the same information I got when I found out what I did. But even though you can't do any more perceived damage, the damage is done psychologically, knowing that tendon can pop in and out. So for him to do what he's done up to this point is fairly remarkable, and to play through this, because it's not something you can tape. There's nothing you can do for this outside of recreating that tendon sheath.
Golfers are particularly reluctant to go down the road of surgery, Arron, for obvious reasons. You had surgery on your wrist in 2010, twice in 2010. It's not always a smooth process to come back, is it?
No, Jordan, though, Jordan's in a much better place than I was. And the reason that was, for me, I was accumulating surgeries on this left hand, which is what ultimately took me out of the game. It was I had 4 different surgeries on this left hand, and I'm missing bones and parts of bones in this left hand, which is what took me out of the game. Jordan's got this one surgery. And the surgeon that did my surgery, Randy Viola, he said, look, he was the last surgery. And he was like, look, this is your last chance and I don't know how many shots you have left in this wrist, but you're definitely on a ball count. You're definitely on a number before this wrist is done because of all the work that I had done prior to it. Now, in Jordan's regard, he doesn't have anything near what I had. Every surgery is serious, okay? Every surgery comes with potential complications and potential hazards. But as far as I'm concerned, if the surgeon that does the surgery does a proper job, does it the right way, Jordan should expect a full 100% recovery. Because since Randy Viola did this surgery on my wrist, I have played lots of rounds of golf between 2010 and now, a lot of rounds of golf, and some in PGA Tour competition before I finally called it quits. And I've had zero issues with the wrist in that regard. I've had zero issues with the extensor carpi ulnaris tendon and the tendon sheath. It's a surgery that's fairly involved to a certain extent. It sounds simple, but like I said, there's no simple surgeries. And I think Jordan will get through this without a problem. I heard what he said about his timeline. That sounds about right. I would take more time. Hands are real tricky and they want to heal, and you want to give them a lot of time to heal. And if you don't give them that proper time to heal, you could have more complications in the future. So I think him getting the surgery ASAP as soon as possible is a really good thing for him, and he'll be ready to go, hopefully ready to go by Sony.
So when you say getting ready to go by Sony, also talking about taking even more time to get back to fully 100% as you describe, what does that timetable then look like? And we can say, oh, this is a Jordan Spieth, maybe not from 2015, but this is a guy that's out there competing and looks like an entirely different golfer.
Everybody's different. I think once he realizes that this is solid, it's not going to break again. Because if I can get into what the surgery entails, or at least what it entailed for me, it's basically what they do. If they do the surgery that they did for me, they take a piece of your tendon fascia or your fascia from your leg, and they recreate the sheath with that fascia from your leg, and they pin it down, recreating the tendon sheath I have 11 titanium pins in my ulna bone that recreate that tendon sheath. So it's not going anywhere. I mean, that sheath is solid in there. And so if they do that surgery properly, he's not going to have any issues. So his confidence, once he realizes that's going to come back. He's going to start trusting it into the ground. He's going to start trusting it through the rough, through the thickest rough. He's going to start trusting it buried lies in the bunkers, and he's going to be fine.
He's talked about chipping and putting after 8 weeks, potentially hitting fuller shots after 12 weeks. He did say at the weekend, Arron, that he thought about a potential sponsor invite to the Hero World Challenge, Tiger's event in the Bahamas in December. Does that seem on the optimistic side to you?
Let's see. That is usually about the second week of December?
Yeah.
Somewhere in there. This surgery's come a long way, I would imagine, since I had it in 2010. It's 14 years later. So I would think that he is going to be close, depending on the modalities that he uses and what's available to him as far as rehab and how much rehab he does. I did a lot of rehab with this, as obviously it was my 4th surgery, so I had to do a lot of rehab, but I had to take a lot more time than he did because of all the accumulation of surgeries. So I think it could be quicker for him. He could be ready to go by the Hero, but I still think that's for me, that's fairly aggressive, but we'll see how it goes. I hope he is ready to go by the Hero, because that would be a great sign.
To those, AO, that say this is a career crossroads for Jordan Spieth, how would you respond to that statement?
Well, he's getting, he's not up there in age, but I mean, he's getting into what I would consider his mental and physical prime. He does have 2 kids, 3 and under, so that also takes a lot of your time, and I can promise you 3 and under is not an easy age to deal with as a parent for those of us who've had kids at that age. So he's getting pulled in a lot of different directions at this time in his life. So a career crossroads, yeah, I would say so. but I still think that career Grand Slam is very, very much alive for him, and he's got quite a few more years after this surgery. He's done with this surgery, and this is behind him. He's got quite a few more years to get that career Grand Slam, which I do believe he's going to do.